I had an interesting experience the other day. This isn't my story, just so the judges know. I told a story about Thailand, and then more recently I told this story about pooping myself. And then at the gym, this woman just came up to me on Sunday and she said, "Oh my gosh, Steven, I saw your story slam, and I can totally relate." And I can't look at her the same now because I didn't have the courage to ask which story. So it's kind of hard when we're running. Oh, actually, okay, never mind. Nothing. Sorry. So this is a story about patience, learning patience. I don't like patience. I don't like nature, really. I don't really like bugs. And I have like a few irrational fears. And one of them is like getting hit in the crotch by like natural objects and stuff. It just scares me. Like I can't be near a horse like within 10 feet because of like, you know, it's just stuff like that ever since I was a kid. And so it'll get into the story a little bit, but it's really about patience. And so I have this friend, his name's Sheets, and he's a very unique individual. He's the only person I know that can get promoted in multiple jobs 3 times within 6 months and then quit and then just move to the next job. And he's like, you know, a world-class fly fisherman. He was, then he quit another job, and then he was in Nashville as like a musician. He got signed and was doing all this cool stuff, and then now he's like leading backpacking trips. He's certified to do backpacking trips all over the nation. It's really cool. But I think kind of why we're best friends is a little bit of like opposites attract. And so he loves nature, like he sleeps outside, like on the ground and stuff. And I sleep in, you know, it's like 68 degrees and like 3 blankets and Tempur-Pedic pillows and eye mask and earplugs and white noise, and I could go on and on. You guys know what I mean, right? So anyway, he was like, "Oh, come up to our cabin." Oh, by the way, this is a great example of Sheets, just for the last context of why he really pushes my patience. Before this trip, the one before, he was like, "Oh, come up to our cabin. It's awesome, and it's 2 hours away in State College." And I started driving to his house, and I was like, "When are you leaving?" And then he texted me back, "Oh, sorry, I actually forgot when I texted you, we're already 30 minutes on the road." You know, it's just, I don't know if you guys get it. He was already on the road, and then he asked me to come. He forgot that I was coming to his house. He was already down the way. But that's kind of this guy. So he was like, "Oh, let's go tubing at my cabin. It'll be an hour." He's like a smooth talker guy. "It'll be an hour. It'll be amazing. You can get out in nature." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it." And we had 2 of our other buddies, my dad and his dad, drive his car down what's supposed to be an hour down the water of this river lake thing. And then we're gonna get in that car and we're gonna go home. So I was like, okay, now I'll commit to it. And so like right when we got on the water, my fears started. It was like, I feel like I'm getting a little PTSD just thinking about it. Like it was like bugs everywhere. And just speaking of like the crotch, like the water was so cold. I felt like I always do a crotch test when guys might get it like when I'm in the water, and that kind of tells me how cold it is because I'll look like a Greek statue or something. You know what I mean? So hopefully other people do that too. Because that's kind of how I tell the water temperature. But it was like that cold. And then I just started seeing these like shark fin like rocks up in the air. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what if one of those like hits my tube, and you know what I mean, like irrational fear. So, but this was kind of rational. And so we're on there, and of course it's freezing, and right away I get stuck like in a bush thing. It's like a branch, and there's bugs everywhere, and I'm covered head to toe. And my friend Sheets is like, "Easy, man, it's all good, man. We're almost done, man. Easy." I was like, all right, let's try it out. Let's try this mindset. And then we keep going, and our tubes were all tied together, and we hit this hard rock, and everybody's separated. And now I'm like freezing, bugs on me, and I'm separated, and I'm trying to catch up to them. And he's like, "Don't worry, man. It's almost done." And then I watch this, it's like a movie. When you see like, or like if you see like somebody driving into something or walking into something like a pole and you can't stop them, it's already happening. And I saw this rock going right towards my buddy's tube. And bam, right exactly where my irrational fear is. And he went out of the water like that. And that was like my final straw. And I was like, I need to get out of here. Like, this is too much for me. I know, I'm high maintenance, okay? So, you know, we keep going, and every corner, he goes, oh, it's just one more corner and it's done. And so every corner, I'm like, this is it, right? And then he goes, oh, no, next one. And eventually, it's like, I can't tell because I'm so numb, because the water's so cold. But I know I have like prickles on my hands, and it's getting really dark. And eventually, I think he broke character because he kept going, easy, it's all easy. And we saw this bridge, and we passed, and he goes, and I heard him under his breath saying, oh my gosh, we're only like 1/10 of the way there. And so that's when I think I broke character, and he broke character, and that's when it wasn't easy. And we started screaming at every corner for anybody for at least a half hour. And eventually he found one house, and this guy with long hair, crazy, just running up to this house, sprints, bangs on the windows, help! And this woman came out, and she had a Chrysler with four seats, but two of them were down, and they were just covered, and she used it as an ashtray. And she also had a 175-pound dog at least. I used to wrestle, I know weight really well, and it was at least 175 pounds. And so he's sitting on the one seat. We have to get 4 guys in the back there, plus the tubes, plus I'm soaked. So now I'm like rubbed in this thing. I'm like a sugar cookie or something of ash. So I don't smell good. And he's like, see, I told you. It's all gonna be good. And I might not get through the end of this, but we got to his car. I'm like, oh, finally, 2-hour drive back, and there's more to it, but I'm covered in ash, and I'm really thirsty. And we start driving, and his car starts flaming in smoke. And he's like, don't worry, this happens all the time. And I'm the least mechanical person I know. I have trouble putting a square peg into a square hole. It's just, you know, it's not my thing. I'm more intangible, you know? And I like the philosophy of the square peg thing. I like to say it, you know? Of course, guys. Square peg, square hole, but or circle, whatever it is. So, you know, we're driving back, it's smoking, and we pulled over, and he's like, it's really easy fix. And so he had a storage of like 40 waters, and it's super dark out. I forgot to miss, it ended up being 7 hours on the water, so I was not happy about that. But he pours all of the storage of water into his radiator thing, and I just saw the water coming down at the bottom of the car. And he's like, no, trust me, easy, easy. And it's suffice to say, we were out of water and everything, and we were pulled over on the side of a Hardee's on the highway on the way to State College, where one time I got stuck at a bachelor party strip club out there, and it took 7 hours to get an Uber, so I had to pay you know, a worker there to just drive everybody back. So that's like where I was stuck, and I had no water and nothing. And he called his dad, and his dad came out, and so I sat there looking at the stars in the back of like the Hardee's on the highway, hearing cars on the side. And I was like, yeah, that wasn't easy, but I did kind of learn a little bit about patience. So, and then I got picked up. Sorry, I guess the ending wasn't what I thought it would be. So. In my head, it sounded really good. That's all though. So